Hey there everybody, how we all doing? Today I'm very excited to share with you guys some brand new DLC that's going to be coming into Lawbreakers later on this month. I can finally talk about this and I'm super excited to finally share it with you guys. I know the player base is honestly not doing as great as it could be right now, but hopefully with some free DLC, hopefully with some of the cool stuff that Bosky has coming down the pipeline over the next few months throughout the remainder of the year, we can hope to see that start to improve. Now, I want to first talk about the new onboarding experiences. So there's going to be new gameplay videos coming into the game, showing people how to play different characters, how to play certain matchups, how to play certain modes, and it's supposed to be a little bit more appealing to both new players as well as existing players. So these are not necessarily guides for the brand new, straight up scrub kind of player. These are going to have useful information for everybody. Now, of course, we don't have details on what exactly that might be. Maybe they're going to go into details on damage numbers and range drop-off values and cooldown timers and things like that, maybe positioning, but that's all stuff that is, well, we're just going to have to wait and see. And I'm really excited to see what they come up with. Next up, Bosky is talking continued game improvements. So they are calling Lawbreakers, quote-unquote, not a fire and forget title. This means that they're wanting to update this game for a very, very long time, if possible. They want this game to run for years and years on end and have a strong, solid, dedicated player base sticking with it. So, to that end, they're committed to continuing rapid-fire updates to their game. They want to see balance issues addressed quickly. They want to see bugs squashed quickly. They want to see content added regularly. They want to do all of the things necessary to keep the game having that feeling of being alive and supported by developers. I've played too many games in the past where they might receive one patch every 4, 5, 6 months if you're lucky, and between those times, the game is stagnant. There's no updates, no changes, no new content, no new carrot dangling in front of me that makes me want to stay playing and keep learning. Continued game improvements like this, just smaller, more bite-sized pieces that are trickled on a more regular schedule, are a good enough way to go to keep people a little bit more interested, or at least so I hope. Next, we have a brand new map called Namsan. This is the first DLC map coming to Lawbreakers, and it's going to be available this month in September. This is the first map set outside of the United States. So if you guys are not familiar with your Lawbreakers lore, every map that occurs in the game right now at launch with no DLC involved happens within the US in a what's called essentially the post-Shattering War state. So every single map is essentially ravaged by that war in some way or another. Generally, I would assume that that means the low-gravity pockets that appear in the maps, but either way, this map is happening outside the US. You're going to see some staunch stylistic differences within this map to really solidify it as being, well, a map abroad. By the name Namsan, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, unfortunately. This is going to be a map, I'm assuming, somewhere within the Eastern Asia region. So Korea, China, Japan, somewhere in that sector of the world, I think, is where we're going to see this. And I don't know, man. It's got a really cool big spacey in the middle, this big mascot guy. If you guys didn't know his name, much like Blitzball, this is Spacey. This is one of the many characters of Lawbreakers that kind of exist in secret, kind of in the background. If you look closely at all the different stickers and little bits of lore hiding within the game, Spacey is one of the many little mascots that they're finally bringing up to the forefront here. Really cute, and really excited to see what this whole map is going to end up playing like. I mean, you can see these purple colors that permeate the map, these neon lights. It's not quite something that you see on any other Lawbreakers map as of yet, so hopefully this bodes well for just a nice, refreshing locale to fight in. I'm really looking forward to this map. Going to be coming very, very soon. Next up, we have skirmishes. So this is essentially an arcade mode within Lawbreakers. So this is a way for the developers to bring brand new, fresh game modes into the game to just keep you occupied and let you play something a little bit less serious, a little bit less challenging in some cases, maybe in other cases not, but either way, it allows them to try new things in a more benign environment. So they don't have to make sweeping, generalized changes to the entire game and ruin what works and ruin what people like in order to try something new. In skirmishes, they can put new content in, you can try it out, let them know what you think, and if things are received well enough, then maybe it'll become a full game mode or a full feature within the game. Team Deathmatch is going to be tested right here. A lot of people have been asking for a very long time, please give us TDM, please give us TDM. So Skirmish is going to be where you go to find that to start off with. Bosky will help tune it, and hopefully with enough positive feedback, if people do like the experience and they want to see a couple of changes to make it made into a proper game mode, this is the way it's going to happen. So Skirmish has a lot of potential. It's got that Tavern Brawl feel. It's got that, I don't know, Blizzard arcade mode feel like an Overwatch. It's got just, it exudes that sort of positive community thinking that I'm really excited for, and I hope that it turns out well. Now, to be completely honest, player base isn't as nice as I would like it to be. No one is really happy with the player base counts, but hopefully skirmishes can help to provide a less sweaty kind of environment for people to play in and have some fun in, or at least just try something new, and again, build that happiness, build that enjoyment of the game in a different way. So hopefully it's beneficial to the game. Hopefully it doesn't kill matchmaking queues because half the player base is trying to play this, the other half is trying to play regular matchmaking. I really hope that doesn't happen, but who knows, man. I just hope that it's going to turn out really well. So, in summary, the new map, that new mode, or rather the new assembly of modes, kind of, where it's, I'm assuming going to be rotated through, those other game improvements that they're talking about, the new onboarding experiences, that is all coming here in September. That's all coming this month. So we got like 3-4 weeks, 3.5-ish weeks, kind of, about, sort of, somewhat, to go through all this new content. So hopefully it turns out really nice. Now, there are a lot of other changes coming into the game over the next couple of months throughout the end of the year. The first big one is going to be their competitive ranked mode entitled Boss Leagues. And here is the big, beautiful logo for this brand new mode. So this is basically what everyone has been asking for. This is what a lot of players have been kind of waiting for. I know a lot of my friends, a lot of my subscribers have been wanting to play Lawbreakers a lot more, but they're trying to wait for the competitive mode to happen because they just don't necessarily like the casual experience for one reason or another, be it multiple hero stacking, or teammates not taking the game seriously enough, or just not, frankly, not being on their skill level and not being competitive with them or against them and having these weird lopsided matches. So hopefully a lot of players will come back once this ranked mode is implemented, and it can really help to revitalize the game. Now, I do have a couple of reservations about this mode. The big one being that same concern I shared with Skirmish just a few minutes ago, is that I really hope that adding ranked play into Lawbreakers does not divide the player base too much. This is very similar to games which have added paid DLC in the past, where you must pay that, well, paid DLC cost to buy a new map, to buy a new character, to buy a new gun, whatever, and to play with the rest of the player base. There have been too many games in the past where you add a DLC map that you have to pay for, and it segregates the player base between those who bought it and those who didn't, and then people can't play with each other, and then ranked queue times increase dramatically, player satisfaction with the game drops significantly, and it's just not a good experience for, well, really anyone. So adding an extra queue into Lawbreakers, well, of course this isn't going to cost anything, this is going to be totally free, don't get me wrong, it's all free, but it still has that potential of splitting the player base in a way that I'm not sure is actually healthy. Now, if there were a way, much like Titanfall 2 has, for example, where you could matchmake into multiple different playlists simultaneously, then I think that would be really beneficial. So if I want to play ranked, but I also don't want to wait 20 years to find a match in case a lot of people are not playing ranked, I mean, I can't predict the future. I have no idea how many are going to play it. So assuming that very few people play ranked, then if I really want to play it, but I don't want to wait 10 minutes for a match, then I can search for both casual and ranked. And if I find a ranked match, great. And if not, then, well, I can still keep playing casual, I can still keep playing Lawbreakers and still having fun with it. And if I choose to wait for the ranked match, then I can. But having that ability to pick and choose the way I want to play and the way I want to matchmake, I think was very, very critical in Titanfall 2's success. And I feel that Boss Key can find a lot of value in mimicking something like that in their game as well. I want to see the Boss Leagues do well. I want to see them perform well. I want to see players playing them. I want to see the game evolve and grow in CCUs, grow in player base size. But there is only so much you can do, and I really hope that this is enough. I really hope that this can really get the ball rolling in the right direction. So moving on from the Boss Leagues here, we have another new map coming farther down the road. This is going to be called Gateway, and this is a map built entirely from the ground up for Blitzball. This is literally an arena. It's like a sports arena floating next to the Golden Gate Bridge. And it's just a big Blitzball map. And it looks so insanely cool. And I can't wait to play it. I don't have a whole lot of more details for you other than just these couple of these couple of screenshots that I can show you here. But frankly, I'm really excited for this. I threatened their map designer, Neverism, with a knife if he didn't give this map to me, so we're getting the map, and I'd like to think that it's all my fault. I will take full credit for this, YouTube, so you heard it here first. But yeah, Gateway, Blitzball map. I am super stoked for this one. I can't wait to give it a try. It looks so cool, man. It looks so cool. I can't wait. And finally, well, I guess not finally, before I get to the finally part, which is a big part, there are time-limited skins coming in with this new Gateway map, with this Blitzball map. I almost forgot to mention it. So the idea here is that you're going to have these special skins that are limited time. You have special stickers, I'm sure, as well, and they're going to be all Blitzball themed. So I'm really excited to play the game, get all those exclusives because, well, I love this game. I love Lawbreakers. I love Blitzball. I want to support it, and I want to get all that cool stuff. So I'm have no idea how you're going to achieve it, if they're going to be coming through loot boxes just like the rest of the gear, if it's going to go Overwatch style where you're going to have a special event loot box on top of your regular loot box and only the event gear shows up in event loot boxes, or I'm sorry, stash drops. They're called stash drops, but you get my point, right? I don't know exactly how that mechanic is going to work. I would imagine it's probably event-specific stash drops, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Finally now, let's get into the big news, the biggest news that we've had out of all this. Like, new maps are cool, skins are cool, modes are cool, yeah, sure, whatever. But what about characters? What about new bosses to play as? Well, we finally have our first spoiler little sneak peek at the next one. We don't have a name yet. All we have is a silhouette. And this is looking like a very big, very meaty character. We don't have any sort of information yet at all. So just to reiterate that, what I'm telling you guys right here is literally everything that we know. What I'm showing you, this one screenshot, this one silhouette, is literally everything that we know publicly about the character. So what we can tell, very big, very muscular. He's wearing like some huge freaking boots, man. Like, I don't know if this is a human, like, cyborg kind of person, because his arms are very rounded, like he has forearms. He has proper human forearms, right? So it doesn't necessarily look like a straight up robot character. He does look human in some aspects, but these legs, are those real human legs inside of those big things? Are those prosthetics completely? Don't know. But he looks like a very heavy character. Going to probably have a big health pool, something along the lines of Titan or Juggernaut, I would assume. And it looks like he has a very big and heavy weapon as well. You can see the handle in the right hand. The left hand is completely obscured, so it's hard to say whether this is one super big weapon or if it's some like weird kind of assembly that like has like on both of his hips, like big boxes on each hip going behind him, almost like Attack on Titan style with their swords and their 3D maneuver gear. I wonder if it might be something like that, and they're trying to screw with us with the silhouette, making it seem like a big gun when all, like, in actuality, maybe it's not. If you look by the head, you do see that big oblong shape. Now, that in some cases, you might think that looks like a big robot head, right? Maybe it's a huge robot head, thinking like Kanti from the anime Fooly Cooly, which is kind of what the branding of my channel is based around. It might kind of look like that head, where when you look at it from the profile, it's actually really, really long. But there's also the theory that it's actually a regular human head. You see this kind of rounded top on it, and then it's got this big box behind it, which is everyone thinks is kind of behind it, and that's a shoulder-mounted weapon, like maybe a rocket launcher or something. So I really have no idea what direction they're going to be going with this character, what it's going to do. You also see kind of this little tail-looking thing, whether this is actually like some super weird character and it's actually a tail, or if it's just a piece of cloth that's hanging there. I think it's probably just a piece of cloth, but you know, the meme of it being like some kind of furry character is definitely a thing within like 3 people in the community. So I guess I may as well mention it, but I do think that this is probably one big heavy gun, but I think it'd be super cool if it actually turned out to be a troll and this was like a big 3D maneuver gear kind of deal. with, you know, both hands operating that, and then your gun is actually the shoulder-mounted weapon. That could be super cool, but in all actuality, probably just a big heavy guy, big gun, secondary shoulder-mounted weapon, kind of like Enforcer already has, and probably going to be rough and tumble, tanky, get in there in the front lines, do some damage, just grab attention for your team so they can get their picks and you stand on the objective. I don't know. Looks really, really interesting. Now, there is still more new content coming throughout the rest of the year. So this new character and those 2 maps and the modes are not it. They're still doing even more. So they have another map coming called Valhalla. And this is going to be the first asymmetrical map in Lawbreakers. So if you guys haven't noticed, which I'm honestly shocked if you haven't noticed that, is that every map in Lawbreakers right now is symmetrical. So Valhalla will be their first attempt at making something that is asymmetric, and I'm really interested to see how it eventually will turn out. This is going to be set in the Sequoia National Forest, and, well, this is our first look at trees and, like, nature in Lawbreakers. I mean, okay, sure, there's a couple of, like, pink cherry blossoms in some maps. Okay, fine, whatever. Okay, fine, that's a tree, but these are freaking trees, man. Like, these are huge trees, waterfalls, overgrown, you know, mossy buildings. Like, this is an abandoned place. This is a really cool looking place, and I'm excited to see what it brings to the game. If an asymmetrical map could possibly work, and how it will feel in a game like Lawbreakers, because right now the game is pretty well balanced around the idea that you have symmetrical maps, you have symmetrical spawns, symmetrical health stations, and the game is built from the ground up around that. So challenging that mentality of game design with an asymmetric map is very scary, to be sure, but I mean, I like the game, I'm biased, so I hope that it does well. I'm looking forward to it nonetheless. If I don't like it, I don't like it, but I love that they're trying something new, they're challenging themselves, and hey, I just wish them all the success. I hope that it goes well. Finally, they do talk about, in this article that I'm kind of reading a little bit from, is player engagement. So a lot of people have been talking lately about the user count, the player count, and community morale in general. I see every single day so many comments about people saying that this game looks so good, I want to buy this game, I want to play this game, but there's just no players, and I feel scared to buy it because I feel that I won't be able to find a match easily, or if I can find one now, 2 months from now I won't be able to, and I will feel like I've wasted my money and my time, and that's a very real concern for a lot of people. Well, to be frank, I don't quite share it, and I actually kind of disagree with that opinion. It is one that a lot of people have, and it's very important that Boss Key tries to facilitate that in the best way that they can. So in this article, they essentially talk about these exact issues. They're trying to optimize their game, they're trying to add new content, they're trying to onboard people in a much better way, a much more convenient, and I don't know what the eventual goal is, but I really hope that their ideas for gaining and retaining players work, because as, like, a super fan of this game, all I want to see is for it to grow, or at least to sustain itself, and right now it's not quite sustaining itself. It's kind of dipping and dipping and dipping, but I can honestly say that I'm still able to find matches pretty quickly, and sometimes there's blowouts, but when you play against the right couple of people, and, you know, the matchmaker does a good job of splitting up the teams and balancing them out well, as long as people are not partied up together, they get super hype and they get super challenging again, and it's super fun, and it gives you that same feeling that you had playing back in the beta when nobody knew how to play. It's still good, it's still fun. It's just you have to, well, you have to be open to losing sometimes against really good players and being able to learn and get better, because once you reach that high level and you are able to hang with all the really good players, it's a lot of fun, but it's hard to do with such a small player count. So I have hopes. Hopefully things go well, but you know, we'll just have to wait and see. If you guys want to read the rest of the article, the rest of their thoughts on player engagement and everything, I will link this article down below. You guys can see, I believe Rohan wrote this, just kind of my guess based upon the way it's written and the way Rohan speaks. This kind of sounds like something that Rohan wrote. So if you want to go and read, click the link down in the description box. It'll be very, very helpful to you. And we'll go ahead and close it out here, guys. So looking forward to see what Boss Key brings us in the future. Love the hell out of their game. Can't wait to play some more of it. And hopefully it lasts for a long time to come. But if it doesn't, we still got through December. All kinds of brand new content to keep us fed. And That's all I can ask for, guys. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.